Hey everybody. I just have the one phone with me, so I can't read people's comments, but I generally remember what people asked. And yesterday I put out a video saying, here's a couple. I said a couple, but I actually listed four. But really there's two primary pieces of legislation around AI that I think could be enacted today. One is that AIs have to disclose themselves. You can't have an AI pretending to be a human in its interactions with other humans. Not allowable. And the other is you can't spoof somebody's identity with an AI, either in the traditional sense by gathering their vital information like their social security number, mother's maiden name, passwords, and all that good stuff, or by using their likeness or their voice or some other aspect of their appearance or presentation to the world that AI can now duplicate. That should be illegal. That's pretty easy. Thereafter, it gets difficult because the people who make the laws and the people who understand technology tend to be two exclusive, non-overlapping sets of people. And so if lawmakers get overly ambitious in their efforts, they're likely to cause harm. More harm than good, in some cases maybe, just it's impossible to say. We live in a very complex civilization with complex technology. Complex systems give rise to unanticipated knock-on effects. So somebody else mentioned that AI should be forbidden from self-replication, from copying itself or duplicating itself. And I'm still kind of scratching my head over that one. Not that I don't understand it. I mean, I do understand that something that is, a runaway duplication process could eat up a whole bunch of resources and cause trouble. But I think I want self-replicating software in space. I want humanity to get off this planet. Now, our bodies are meant to be on this planet. Our bodies are part of the biosphere of this planet. We can sustain our lives, for a short period in space, but it takes a toll. The lack of gravity, the radiation, the lack of biodiversity in our microflora and fauna. We're meant to live here. But I want a human presence or post-human presence in space, and I want small machines to be able to go out into the universe and create copies of themselves, including copies of their operating systems. So yeah, I think on Earth, maybe. I don't see an immediate problem with that law. Software cannot duplicate itself on its own, autonomously. Humans must be the ones to decide. Because otherwise, I mean, the instances of self-replicating software that occur to me are things like, worms and bots and viruses, and typically malicious. So harmful or neutral at best. But, there is the possibility of beneficial viruses or beneficial pieces of software that secretly replicate themselves on your home computer or, in big servers someplace or, big data centers. I don't have any examples ready to mind, though. But, yeah, I think a difference between what's allowable on the planet and what's allowable in space is pretty important. Somebody else asked if Asimov's 3 laws of robotics are an option. No. No, they're not. The crucial thing about all the pieces of legislation that I mentioned and that other people have mentioned is that these are not actually laws for AI. These are laws for humans and corporations and governments deploying AI. You may not design or implement an artificially intelligent system to steal somebody's identity or to defame them or to mislead people or to kill people. That was one of the suggestions my suggestions. No lethal robots, no AIs that are given the autonomy and the authority to end a human life. But all of these laws are really laws for humans. No AI would be held accountable for violations of these laws. The human beings or the corporations that deployed them would be. Whereas Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, really there's 4. First law, a robot may not harm or through an action allow a human to come to harm. A robot must obey the orders given to it by a human being, except where the obeying of such orders would violate the first law. And a robot must protect its own existence, except in cases where doing so would violate the first or second law. And then the 0th law, which Asimov came up with later, is that a robot may not do anything to harm humanity. And this supersedes the other 3 laws. So, if a robot decided that it needed to kill somebody in order to preserve the species or to benefit the civilization, it would do so. And it would not be in violation of any of the laws. But these are laws, or these are directives given to the machines themselves. But for the machines themselves to actually understand them and to have the judgment to decide in any given case whether or not one of these laws applies, they have to be rather cognitively sophisticated already. And by then, the opportunity to create alignment between our well-being and the the agendas of artificial intelligence is too late. By the time the robots can understand Asimov's 3 laws and have the judgment to implement them in the appropriate cases, it's too late. The horses have bolted. Close the barn door if you want to, but you're late to the party. So no, Asimov's 3 laws, it's fun. They were grist for stories. They were inciting incidents for stories, because most of the robot stories that Asimov wrote that involved the 3 laws involved some instance where the 3 laws were inadequate, or where there was some contradiction or, some problem with governance of robots via the 3 laws. So even in Asimov's stories, they weren't really very good, they were not a good control mechanism. But in real life, they're just, it's totally like so wide of the mark as to not even be worth talking about, really. But I do love me some science fiction, including some classic and kind of, ramrod stiff starched collar shirt science fiction like Asimov wrote. I say that in a mocking tone. I read his stuff as a teenager, and it meant a lot to me. So no disrespect to Mr. Isaac Asimov. All right, well, I think another short video today. Give me something to talk about, and I will talk at length. I think the algorithm maybe likes the longer videos. Yesterday's 5-minute video did not get very many views compared to my usual 15 to 20-minute offering. Anyway, let me know what you'd like to hear me talk about, and I will jabber at you. Take care.